Hey, all my crafty friends. This is Rebecca, and I am Rust and Roses. And thank you so much if you're returning to my channel. If you're not a current viewer and you like what you see, I'd appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel. It helps me grow it and bring more content. If you have any suggestions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. So the first thing I need to do is I need to Mod Podge all three pieces. I'm going to put a generous amount of Mod Podge on all three, both the bunnies and the egg. And then I am going to let them dry completely. Well, while my Mod Podge is drying, what I want to do is using one of my molds that makes the I'm not really sure what you call it. It's a mold that makes a border. I'm going to check the size of my egg to make sure that it's the right width, because there are several on this particular mold, and I want to make sure that I have one that goes all the way around the edge. Once that's done, I am going to dust my mold with cornstarch to make sure that my clay does not stick to it and it comes out very easily. Once that's done, I'm going to take a section of my air dry clay from DOS, and I'm going to just pull off a chunk of it, and then I'm going to roll it in my palms, between my palms, just to warm the clay up to make it a little bit more pliable. Once I have it warmed up and pliable, I'm going to roll it into a sort of a log, I guess you would say. And then all you have to do is press the clay down into the mold, and to make sure that it picks up all of those beautiful details, I like to use my brayer to push it down into the mold to make sure that I get all those gorgeous details. After I have it completely flattened in my mold, I am going to take a palette knife and cut off the excess I'm just going to slide it along the top of the mold to cut off the excess clay, because I want to make sure that I have nice clean edges. Once I have my nice clean edges, once I have my clay in my mold and everything is cut off and it's all nice and neat, I'm simply going to turn it over. And these are very pliable molds, they're silicone, so they're kind of rubbery, but all you have to do is flip it over and put a little bit of pressure, upward pressure, and your whatever it is that you have molded will just very gently come right out of the mold. Now it's time to get our piece of parchment paper and place our paper image exactly where we want it on the egg. Now that our Mod Podge is completely dry, we're going to place that parchment over our print, and using my Cricut mini press, I'm going to use the iron-on method. I'm just going to press the image back down. The heat from my Cricut mini press will reactivate that dried Mod Podge and adhere my paper to the face of my egg. And I'm going to do that for the egg and both of my bunnies. So now I'm going to use my finger sander. This one I ordered from Amazon, and 240 grit sandpaper, and I'm very gently going to, in a downward motion, go all the way around both of my bunnies, getting in all those little crevices, nooks, and crannies. And that's just to remove any excess paper that might happen to be on the outside. I tried to trace and cut these as close as I could because of all of those nooks and crannies, but sometimes you don't get it exactly perfect. But the finger sander will get in there, and then if I have issues getting in a corner or something, as you can see, I take just a single sheet that's not attached to the handle, and in a downward motion, I go in those little crevices to get out everything that I need to get out. Now I'm going to take my tacky glue, Aleene's tacky glue, and I like this particular one because it has the new lid. I found this at Michael's as well. I have the new lid, and it's a stand-up lid, so you can use it and pop it back in the lid upside down so that your glue is readily available whenever you need it. Now that I have those completely sanded and smooth, I'm going to put my air dry clay border around the edge of my egg. I'm just using Aleene's tacky glue, spreading it out with my finger, and then I'm going to, using the blank space at the bottom, there's a flat edge on the bottom where the egg sits, and I want to make sure that I don't cover that with anything that will cause it not to stand up. So I'm going to start at the very edge with my clay border, making sure that I adhere it very well, line it up on both sides, and leaving that space at the bottom so that it will stand. I'm going to cover the entire egg all the way around. So the very last thing that I'm going to do using my bear's wax and an applicator brush, the bear's wax I got from Home Depot, I'm going to go around the edges just to give my bunnies a little bit of a rustic antique look. Now, if this is not something that you enjoy, you can leave these completely white and pristine just like they are. But I just happen to love this style. And it goes with all of the rest of the decor in my home. So I'm going to do this for the bunnies, both of the bunnies. Now I just use a baby wipe to wipe off any excess, or if I get a little bit heavy-handed in some areas, I just use my wet wipe and it comes off readily but still leaves that antiqued and rustic look. Very easy to do. Now I'm just making sure that I have cut off enough of that clay that my egg will stand upright on its own. And I like to go ahead and work with my clay while it's still somewhat wet. Not wet, but somewhat wet. I feel like I get better results. This is my Americana antiquing wax. I'm just going to take a paintbrush and I am literally going to paint it on my mold, my clay, paint it on, and then of course I'll wipe off the excess because I want that to go down into those little crevices. And once you wipe that off of the top surfaces, it stays in those crevices and is absolutely beautiful. And again, this is my style. This is what I like. If you would prefer to paint the clay, I would suggest painting it while it's still somewhat wet because you get less cracking that way. If you don't like the antique look, you can always paint it the color of your choice. So as promised, here is a final shot of my, well, I have a wooden egg, 2 bunny rabbits, and then I just included my faux Fabergé egg that I actually made from Dollar Tree items. Just wanted to put those in there. But I do want to say thank you so much if you have stayed to the end of the video. I enjoy making these videos so much. I enjoy crafting and making beautiful things for my home, and I hope that it inspires you to do the same. If you're a subscriber, I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're not a subscriber yet, please consider hitting that subscribe button, or at least the like button. I also included a picture of how I style it in my home, on my tiered tray in my dining room. So thanks again. I so appreciate you, and I'll see you soon.